I never forget a quote by a wise shaman who said, "Give me a child age 1 to 7 and I will give you the man." And I realized in my own personal life that a lot of the dysfunctional patterns that I saw in my adult life was because of my childhood trauma. And so I'm always looking for different energy healing modalities to really release that childhood trauma from my energy field. And so I've been using sound healing modalities for a number of years, but for the past year, I really got into the tuning fork sound healing modality. And I've been using literally the tuning fork on my own body because the basic premise is when you have any kind of distortion or incoherent energy or blocked energy, and you place that tuning fork on that distorted wave energy, then the tuning fork entrains that energy and makes it coherent. That's the basic premise. And so I started using tuning forks on my body, and I really love it. What I found it to give me more energy, and I really discovered that it allows my energy to flow in a better way. So in this week's video, I really want to show you more in detail the concept of the tuning fork as a healing modality. And in next week's video, so watch out for next week's video, I want to share with you the tuning forks that I have in my own personal collection and how I use it on my own body. And so the premise of how tuning forks work is based on the laws of resonance, vibrational frequencies, and entrainment. And I talk a lot about vibrational frequencies in my videos, that the entire universe, including our bodies, our thoughts, our emotions, are made up of these wave energy vibrational frequencies. That's what it is. So any type of experience that you have, whether it's a trauma experience or a happy experience, gets recorded in this energy vibrational frequency field. So perhaps you had an abused childhood, that gets recorded. Perhaps you had a trauma from a car accident, that gets recorded. Perhaps you had a happy wedding, that gets recorded. Perhaps you have a lost loved one, that trauma gets recorded. And so what happens is, if you don't release this trauma from your body in this energy field, then it creates illness and ailments in a future date. And so the shamans, they were so genius, is that they realized that this energy field, not only was it in your body, but we each have an individual electromagnetic energy field that extends outside of our body about 5 to 6 feet out. And the shamans called that the Wiracocha, or the 8th chakra. We have the 7 chakras that run up and down our spine, our body. This 8th chakra surrounds our body about 5 to 6 feet out. And so we're constantly emitting an electromagnetic signal out into our biofield. That's what we're doing. And so when the shamans heal, let's say you have cancer, you go to a Western doctor, the Western doctor gives you radiation, chemotherapy, surgery, right? The shamans, they don't heal in that fashion. What they do is they ask the divine, the spirit, to help them to release that trauma information in your biofield, this Wiracocha, the 8th chakra, to help you release that to the universe. And then once you release it, there's no resistant energy in the body. So now you're allowing your body to heal. So the shamans are healing you energetically. They're healing you at a soul level. Now, the Western culture has caught up to the shamans. they discovered through lots of research that we actually have an electromagnetic biofield around us. And so a leading tuning fork expert, Eileen McCusick, who has been using tuning forks, she's practiced it and used it on her patients and researched for over 20 years, actually mapped out her own biofield. She mapped it out because what she was finding was blueprints and patterns in our biofield as she was using the tuning fork on her patients. And so one of the first things that she discovered in her research practice is that, yes, our biofield extends about 5-6 feet out from our bodies, but we have this outer edge, or what you call this membrane. And at the outer edge represents our gestation, our birth. And then as we move in to our biofield, it represents our current age. So if we're currently 60 years old, then the middle of the biofield is 30 years old. And so as we go and move through life, all of our experiences get recorded in the biofield, as I mentioned before. And so as she was using the tuning fork and placing it in the biofield and combing through the biofield of her patient, like she would hold it over here, she would hold it, then she would move and comb it through here, she would hear different tonal expressions. So if somebody had a sadness, she would see a pattern that this sadness was off the right shoulder. She would find that pattern, and then the sound of the tuning fork would be different than its natural vibrational frequency. So the sound might have like a sad sound, like wah, wah, right? Then if somebody had anger and they were holding on to that anger, she would see a pattern of that happening. Maybe, I think it's over here, off the left shoulder. And the tonal sound of that tuning fork might be more pitched, might be more sharp, representing anger. And so basically, after so many years of using tuning forks on patient, she was able to create this blueprint of our biofield patterns. And so what she did was she would take the tuning fork, let's say she had a tuning fork like this, and if she heard sadness over here let's say off the right shoulder of this person, she would hold the tuning fork right there and keep it steady. She would just hold it, and what the tuning fork would do, and this is really amazing about the tuning fork, is that it would entrain the vibrational frequency of sadness. So this sadness frequency is distorted. It's incoherent. And so as she kept holding this tuning fork on that sadness distorted vibrational frequency, the tuning fork would entrain that distorted, incoherent frequency and make it coherent, which creates the healing. And so what's really genius about the tuning fork is that it not only can hunt the distorted waves in your biofield, but it also was able to heal it by making that distorted wave now coherent. So it really performed two things. It hunted and found the distortions and then made it coherent, thus creating the healing. When I saw the science behind this tuning fork, I said, I have to get some tuning forks and use it on my own body. And so that's what I've been doing. And like I said before, I have found my energy to flow better. So wherever there's blocked energy, I would hold the tuning fork on that spot. so that that frequency can entrain my incoherent frequency. And I'm finding that my energy is flowing better, which creates more flow, energy, less lethargic feeling. And I'm really, really a huge fan of these tuning forks because it not only finds and hunts out my distortion, but it also makes my incoherent emotional waves become coherent and creates healing in my own body. So like I said before, in next week's video, I'm going to share with you the tuning forks that I have and which ones I use on my own personal body, and demonstrate for you how I use the tuning fork from head to toe. So look out for that video next week. And if you like this video, please make sure to share it and subscribe to my channel. And I encourage you to join my Facebook community where we do live healing meditations, one-on-one private sessions. I also have some expert guests that come on. And the URL for that community is facebook.com/groups/yin and yang living. And if you want to visit all of my spiritual and holistic living tips, just go to my website at yinandyangliving.com. Thank you. Namaste.